Just imagine. Someone leaves you with a proud look in their eyes, convinced that your life will collapse without them. They turn away, smiling as if they've won. But what they never expected is that the very moment they walk away becomes the great turning point in your journey. They thought you would cling, beg, and fall apart. But instead of crying, you chose silence. Instead of despair, you began to rediscover yourself. And only then do they realize the bitter truth. Losing you is not just losing a relationship, it's losing a soul strong enough to love deeply and courageous enough to let go when no longer valued. In today's video, we will uncover why narcissists always regret losing you, even when they are the ones who chose to walk away. Stay until the end, because this truth will not only make you feel free, but also proud, knowing that your silence and inner strength are their greatest nightmare. If you are on a healing journey, don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell, because here you will always find reminders and deep insights to stand tall, live strong, and shine brightly, even after the darkest of relationships. 1. When you choose silence, strength begins to speak. There is a paradox few people recognize. In a toxic relationship, especially with a narcissist, your silence carries a weight 100 times heavier than arguments and 1,000 times deeper than tears. The narcissist does not fear your shouting nor your criticism. In fact, they thrive on it because every reaction you give them is proof that they still control your mind and emotions. But when you choose silence, not from fear but from awareness, the curtain of power they worked so hard to build begins to collapse. Silence is not surrender. Silence is the soul's withdrawal from the false theater the narcissist directs. In the past, you may have believed you had to explain so they would understand, argue to defend the truth, or cry to be heard. Yet the harder you tried, the deeper you were pulled into the endless spiral. Every answer, every justification, every tear became fuel for their manipulative game. And then one day, you became so tired that you no longer wished to speak another word, no longer wanting to prove you were right, no longer seeking fairness from a heart that never knew how to love sincerely. That very moment you chose silence. And this silence, not any word you could have said, became the most powerful declaration of your awakening and your inner strength. The narcissist panics. They will try every way to wake you up, not because they love you, but because they cannot bear the truth that they have lost control. They may send a short text, drop a single question mark, or accidentally appear where you usually go. All of it is only to test whether you will still react, whether you can be pulled back into the same old game. But if you remain silent, they begin to feel fear. In the narcissist's world, existence only has meaning when others acknowledge them, when someone still revolves around them, whether in love or in hate. Your silence means they are no longer the center of the story. They are forced to face their own emptiness, something they have never been prepared for. The fascinating part is that while they spiral in panic, you begin to find peace. Silence is no longer a wound, but a space for you to breathe, to hear the true voice of your own heart. You start to remember the hobbies you abandoned, the dreams you buried, the smiles you thought you had lost. All of them slowly return, because you no longer waste your energy on fighting a meaningless battle. Silence shows you clearly you were never weak as they labeled you. On the contrary, you are courageous, courageous enough to stop, to step away from destruction, to choose peace over chaos. This is the kind of bravery the narcissist will never have, because they are too afraid of truth, too afraid of living without someone to control. Silence also teaches the sacred power of boundaries. You realize you are not responsible for saving a soul that refuses to heal. You are not obligated to sacrifice yourself so that someone else can maintain their illusion of power. By choosing silence, you draw a clear boundary. I will no longer allow anyone to define my worth. And one day, when you stand before the mirror, you will see a new person, no longer eyes filled with anxiety, no longer a trembling voice seeking approval. Instead, you will find calmness, confidence, and a light that even you did not expect, the light of freedom. Meanwhile, the narcissist, though outwardly still smiling, still boasting about their new life, is secretly drowning in chaos. They torment themselves because no one reacts anymore. They suffer because their stage has no audience. And in that darkness, your silence rings like a bell reminding them they lost the most precious thing of all, a soul capable of true love. You see, silence is never just an empty space. It is a language of strength, dignity, and courage. When you are silent, you are speaking to the world and to yourself. I am enough. I am strong, and I do not need anyone's manipulation to feel alive. This is the beginning of liberation, and this is why the narcissist regrets losing you to the very core. 2. From ruins to rebirth. When a storm sweeps through, what remains is often destruction and desolation. In the same way, when you step out of a relationship with a narcissist, your heart seems to be left in pieces. Broken trust, shattered hope, even a fractured image of yourself. You look around, and it feels as if everything has collapsed, leaving nothing to hold on to. This is the hardest stage, the moment when many believe they have lost everything. But remember, ruins are not the end. They are the beginning of a new journey. From those broken pieces, something miraculous can emerge, rebirth. At first, you may feel empty. Questions echo endlessly in your mind. Did I deserve to be treated this way? Where did I go wrong? If only I had been more patient, more forgiving, would things have been different? This is self-blame, a deep psychological wound nearly everyone who has loved a narcissist experiences. They made you believe the fault was always yours, while they played the role of the victim. And when they left, you carried a mountain of guilt that never belonged to you. Yet, one day, in silence, another truth begins to appear. The very fact that you are still here, still breathing, still standing after it all, is proof of the hidden strength within you. The ruins are not your ending. They are a sign that you were courageous enough to let go of what was never truly yours. From here, the journey of rebirth begins. You learn to accept that the wounds are real, the pain is real, but they do not define you. You no longer try to deny or hide them. Instead, you face your emotions directly. Sometimes it is nights of uncontrollable tears. Sometimes it is mornings of emptiness. But rather than fearing them, you allow those emotions to flow because you know this is the soul's way of cleansing itself in preparation for renewal. As you begin to breathe again, you rediscover the parts of yourself once forgotten. Perhaps you once loved writing, painting, or traveling, but during your time with the narcissist, all of that was silenced. Now, piece by piece, you bring those fragments back. You write in a journal, listen to music that once made your heart beat faster, or walk beneath the sunset without fear of being judged as useless. Every small action becomes the first step of rebirth. The miracle is that the deeper you go into this journey, the more you uncover a new kind of strength. No longer the strength to endure or to hold on to someone else, but the strength to protect yourself. You learn to say no without guilt. You learn to set boundaries and to honor your own feelings. You learn that love never means sacrificing yourself until you disappear. As this rebirth unfolds, the narcissist will feel it even if you never say a word. They were accustomed to a version of you that was weak, dependent, afraid of abandonment. But now, you are different. Your eyes carry peace. Your smile carries self-possession. Your silence is no longer an empty space they can exploit, but a solid wall protecting your worth. They may feel unsettled, even attempt to return. But this time you no longer fall into the same trap, because rebirth has taught you. Someone who truly loves you will never demand you abandon yourself in exchange for love. You begin to recognize the gifts left behind by the ruins. First, resilience. Few challenges in the future can truly break you because you have already survived the fiercest psychological battle. Second, freedom. Not only freedom from the narcissist, but freedom from your own inner fears. You no longer fear loneliness, no longer fear loss, because you know you can stand tall even on your own. And the greatest gift of all, you find yourself again. The one who once loved deeply. The one who forgave to the point of forgetting themselves. The one who hurt so much they thought they would never rise again. But now, all those parts merge into a new version, stronger, wiser, and more beautiful than ever. Remember, destruction never takes away your worth. It only strips away the illusions you once clung to. From the collapse, you build a new foundation, solid, authentic, and wholly yours. And as you walk forward, you realize this journey is not just about leaving someone. It is about discovering another world, a world where you no longer beg for love, no longer prove your value, but simply live as your true self. That is the essence of rebirth. 3. They lose more than you think. When a narcissist leaves you, they often turn their back with an arrogant smile, convinced they are the winner. In their mind, you are nothing more than a supporting character in the play they carefully directed. They believe that without them, you will collapse, chase after them, beg, and do anything to hold on. In that arrogance, they believe they've proven their ultimate power. But there is one thing they never anticipate. The moment they walk away is also the moment they lose more than they could ever imagine. The first thing they lose is true love. In the narcissist world, love is nothing more than a tool, a means to manipulate and to seek admiration. They neither understand nor value sincerity. Yet that does not make the love you gave meaningless. On the contrary, it is the rarest treasure they may never find again in their lifetime. You loved with patience, with faith that anyone could change if truly understood. Your love was not shallow, it was sacrifice, sleepless nights, and unshaken belief even in the midst of pain. But because they never knew how to protect it, they let slip away the only thing that could have made their life whole, a soul willing to love unconditionally. At the same time, they also lose a mirror of truth. In that relationship, you were the mirror reflecting back their importance and power. Through your suffering, they felt their inner emptiness temporarily filled, but when they left, that mirror shattered. They no longer had anyone to reflect them, no one to respond, no one to prove they were special. It's like someone used to standing under the stage lights, being dragged into darkness, the audience gone, leaving only silence. And that truth terrifies them, confuses them, and eventually drives them into regret. They also lose the chance to grow. Many believe that with enough patience and love, one can heal a narcissist. But change only happens when they choose it. And when they turn their back on you, they abandon that one chance. Only in genuine love can a person dare to face their deepest weaknesses and attempt transformation. Only when forgiveness is offered do they have the opportunity to learn, but instead of valuing it, they threw it away. And from then on, they locked the door, trapping themselves in an endless loop, searching, conquering, and destroying. Next, they lose respect, a value that neither money nor fame can buy. You once placed them at the center, admired them, built them into something grand in your heart. But when you awakened, when you chose silence and walked away, that respect vanished. And once lost, respect can never be regained. It cannot be bought, faked, or forced. Most bitter of all, what they lose is not just you, but the illusion that they could control you forever. In their mind, you would never rise, never be strong enough to leave. But when you did, they lost not only you, but also the illusion of power that sustained them. That is their greatest defeat, realizing that the person they once belittled, the one they believed would always depend on them, has become the clearest proof of freedom and strength. So if you ever feel like the loser when abandoned, remember the truth is the opposite. The real loss is theirs, not yours. You did not just walk away from a toxic relationship, you reclaimed yourself. They, on the other hand, lost what they may never find again. A heart capable of true love, a soul willing to forgive, and the only chance to become better. You don't need revenge, nor to gloat. All you need to do is live well, peacefully, and freely for your very life, becomes the undeniable proof that they are the ones who lost far more than you think. 4. Your freedom is their obsession. One of the things a narcissist can never accept is that you can live well, perhaps even shine brighter without them. In their mind, your existence must revolve around them. Your happiness must depend on them, and your worth only matters when they validate it. But when you choose to walk away and embrace freedom, those illusions are torn apart. And this truth becomes the greatest obsession they must endure every single day. Picture this. In the narcissist's eyes, they are always the main character. They want you to suffer in their absence, to ache and yearn for their return. But when you fall silent, when you begin to rebuild your life without their presence, you shatter the script they had so carefully written. That leaves them shaken to their core. Because for them, power never lay in love, it lay in control. And if they can no longer control you, they have already failed. Your freedom is not merely leaving a toxic relationship, it is a courageous choice, choosing yourself instead of chains. As you rediscover simple joys, a peaceful night's sleep free of fear, a genuine smile among those who truly care, you prove that you can live fully without anyone holding the reins. Every step of rebirth enrages the narcissist, for it reminds them the power they once had has vanished forever. What wounds them most is not losing you, but watching you happy without them. They may pretend to be content, flaunt a new relationship, or showcase luxury online, but deep down, the sight of you at peace, radiant and free, is a mirror reflecting their inner emptiness. They can deceive the world, but not themselves. They know that in this game, they are the ones who lost. Your freedom is living proof that all they tried to make you believe was an illusion. They once wanted you to think you were weak, that you could not survive without them. But you prove the exact opposite. Not only do you survive, you thrive, stronger and brighter than ever. And when they see this, obsession takes hold. They will watch you in silence. An anonymous view on social media, a probing question through mutual friends, a short, late-night message, all born from the same obsession. They want to know, how can she be so happy? How can he smile without me? Yet what they find only unsettles them more. The answer is too clear. You are happier, freer, and more at peace, and none of it involves them. That freedom is also proof of a vital lesson. You do not need anyone's approval to define your worth. When you learn to love yourself, when you find joy within, you step out of the psychological trap the narcissist built. That is the truth they never want you to discover. Because once you realize you are whole from within, they have nothing left to bargain with, no leverage, no control. This obsession is not born of love, for a narcissist has never truly known love, but of the wounded ego's hatred of being challenged. In their world, losing control feels like death, and your freedom is the death knell for their illusion of power. They cannot bear the reality that the one they once looked down on, the one they thought would depend on them forever, now walks firmly forward without ever looking back. For you, freedom is rebirth. For them, your freedom is obsession, a wound that never heals. They may try to fill it with fleeting relationships, with hollow displays of grandeur. But every time they see you living true to yourself, they are reminded of their greatest failure, losing a soul brave enough to love and just as brave enough to let go. And if you ever doubt your strength, remember this. You don't need revenge, you don't need to prove anything. The freedom you live each day is the loudest testimony. You don't need to shout that you have won. Let the peace on your face, the laughter in your heart, and the light in your eyes be the answer. That is the heaviest sentence for the narcissist. In the end, your freedom is not only their obsession, it is also your declaration. You have overcome, you have stood strong, and you have reclaimed your true worth. And as you continue walking this path, be proud, for every step not only takes you further from the darkness, but closer to the life you deserve, a life you own and no one else. 5. Silent victory, but eternal. There is a truth a narcissist will never admit. You don't need to speak out, you don't need to prove yourself, and you don't need revenge to be the winner. Your victory is not about making them suffer. It lies in the fact that you have escaped the dark spiral and stepped into a new life where peace and freedom reign. And that very reality, even if you say nothing, is the heaviest sentence they will ever face. You see, Throughout the entire relationship, they did everything to make you believe you were weak, that you couldn't survive without them. They staged dramatic scripts from sweet affection to cold indifference, only to keep you constantly struggling to hold on to their love. But when you chose silence, when you stopped playing the game, they lost their greatest weapon, your reaction. And from that moment, you began to win. Your victory is not loud. It is not grand declarations or flashy acts. It arrives quietly, little by little, through the smallest yet most meaningful changes. It's the morning you wake up and realize you no longer tremble at a sudden message. It's the afternoon you read a book in peace, instead of drowning in anxiety about where they are or what they're doing. It's the carefree smile you rediscover in the company of people who truly love you. Each of these simple moments is proof of an eternal victory. You have stepped out of their shadow, and while you live in calm, they cannot find peace. Because what they craved was never love, it was power. They wanted to control your emotions, to be the center of your world. But when you no longer react, when you no longer allow them to dictate your moods, they realize they have lost the most precious thing of all, the ability to manipulate. Your indifference, your unwavering silence, becomes the clearest statement that their game is over. This quiet victory also gives you profound freedom. You no longer chase after recognition. You no longer sacrifice yourself just to sustain a love that was only an illusion. Instead, you invest in what nourishes your soul, genuine friendships, forgotten passions, unfinished dreams. You come to realize that happiness has never been in someone else's hands, it has always been in your own heart. And as you live a full life, you prove that not only have you broken free from their grip, but you have grown into something far greater. What makes this victory eternal is that it doesn't depend on them. It doesn't come from their apology or their admission of defeat. It comes from you, from your firm decision that no one will ever control your emotions or destiny again. Once you reclaim ownership of your life, no one can take it away. For the narcissist, this is the most painful truth. They may find someone new, build a new stage with a new audience, but deep down they know they lost to you. Because you didn't just walk away, you stood strong. You didn't just survive, you shine. And that light, no matter how much they try to cover it up, will forever haunt them. You may never receive an apology. You may never hear them admit regret. But remember, your silence and peace already speak louder than words. They are undeniable proof that you have won not in a fleeting battle, but in an entire journey. Be proud of this. Continue to live, continue to love yourself, and continue walking your chosen path. Because your silent victory is not just their defeat, it is the greatest gift you give yourself. A life of freedom, a heart full of pride, and a soul no longer bound in chains. That is the true eternal victory. When a narcissist walks out of your life, they may think you'll remain broken, trapped in longing, and never rise again. But reality proves the opposite. The very moment you choose silence, choose healing, choose freedom, is the moment you claim the greatest victory of your life. A victory that needs no display, no revenge, yet echoes powerfully in silence because it is written with your pride and inner strength. The narcissist may try to ignore the truth, may construct a new image to cover their emptiness, but deep down they know they've lost the most precious thing. They lost a heart that once loved them sincerely. They lost a soul that was patient and forgiving. And most of all, they lost their only chance to become something better. They may never admit this, but you don't need their confession. Your radiant, free life is the loudest answer. You don't need to look back, nor seek fairness from those who never valued you. True justice lies in how you live today, more peaceful, more joyful, and stronger than ever. Let your laughter, your confidence, and your happiness stand as proof that you've stepped out of the darkness into the light. And above all, remember this: you are not a supporting character in anyone's story. You are the author of your own life, the main character in the film you write each day. The past may have left scars, but those scars are now symbols of your strength, your resilience, and the journey you've endured and overcome. If you hear these words and feel your heart stir, it is no accident. It is a reminder that you deserve a better life, a truer love, and a brighter future. You need no one's approval, it is already within you. And to continue walking this path of healing and inner strength together, don't forget to hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss the next reminders. Every video here is a message that you are strong enough, worthy enough, and deserving enough to live a life of freedom, peace, and wholeness. You have already won in silence, but forever. And that is a victory no one can ever take away.